The fourth reading this morning is a little bit longer, believe it or not. I'm not sure where it comes from, but it's cool. Dear people who live in anxious times, I am Isaiah of Jerusalem, and I'm the outlier in this collection of letters about the whole "what Christmas means to me" question. You see, I'd been dead a good 700 years before the birth of Jesus. What you now call Christmas was the furthest thing from my mind in the 8th century BCE, when I tried, and sadly failed, to get the kingdom of Judah back on track in time to avert the catastrophe of exile. Writing to you now feels like deja vu all over again. The prophetic message I delivered to my own people was not terribly different from what I'm saying to you now. We faced the very real possibility of our annihilation as a people. A messy civil war had split our kingdom in two, leaving us badly weakened and vulnerable to outside aggression. But the root of the problem was our failure to honor God and one another as people of God. We went through the motions. We brought our goats and pigeons to sacrifice in the temple, but we neglected the weightier matters of God's law, justice, compassion, love. I told Judah that if we did not address these spiritual failures swiftly and comprehensively, we risked being abandoned by God altogether, evicted from our land, and shackled in captivity to our sworn enemies. In the year King Uzzah died, I had an honest-to-goodness, full-blown religious experience in the inner chamber of the Temple of Jerusalem, the Holy of Holies. I felt a call that others, both before and after me, have also felt, a summons from God. God, in all holiness, blazed before me as if enthroned. I heard what could only have been the voice of God asking, "Whom shall I send?" And then I heard what could only have been my own voice responding, "Here I am, send me." I think of that mystical moment as my Christmas, my moment with Emmanuel, God with us. What I experienced in a private mystical moment is what happened in public for all the world, in flesh and blood, when Christ was born in Bethlehem. Holiness blazed among mortals not for a moment, but for a lifetime and for all time. God blazed in the countenance and the words of Jesus when he taught the multitudes. God blazed in the passion with which he spoke truth to power. God blazed in his healing touch, his jovial laugh, and the quiet dignity with which he faced condemnation, suffering, and death on the cross. God blazes on in the risen Christ with a glory brighter than 1,000 suns. And all of this, all of it taken together, is what Christmas means. Christmas calls for responsible action steps. So begin by admitting to one another, this is our mess. We have no one to blame but ourselves. Let's clean things up. Take responsibility, but do not be hobbled by it. Move on quickly to determine what pieces of the mess is yours to untangle, and then set about to do just that. Seek God's guidance. Rely on God's help. God won't be waving a magic wand to fix things for you, but neither does God expect you to go it alone. Let Christmas summon you to hope. Hope is a much better motivator than alarm. And because of Christmas, there is hope. You need hope in your time every bit as much as I needed hope in mine. The crisis you face is far greater in scope than the crisis we were facing. But your scientists say there is still time to prevent the worst outcomes. Even more importantly, you have an advantage in the hope department because you live on the other side of Christmas. In Jesus Christ, you now have what I could only imagine. He is the wonderful Counselor, the mighty God, everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. Jesus is a dream come true. We had hope in God's promises. You have hope in their fulfillment. For you, Christmas is a done deal. It's ongoing. Christ was born. Christ lives. You live in a world where Christmas is not just a date on the calendar, but a spiritual reality. Harness it to support one another, to take action in this present hour. Trust that Christmas has delivered and will continue to deliver all the hope you will ever need. The first candle on that wreath is usually called the candle of hope. Each year, I hold my breath for the lighting of this candle. In its steady flame, the light that I knew and the light that you know burn as one. Hope burns. It blazes. It lights the way. Hope is what Christmas means to me. Yours humbly, Isaiah of Jerusalem. May we all be blessed with understanding. Amen.